What if Resident Evil wasn't just a cool idea, but a full D&D one-shot your table could play tonight? Today, we're bringing Resident Evil into a complete one-shot, breaking down the design, the drama, and the decisions that make it work at the table. Ever wonder how to make Resident Evil into a D&D one-shot? We'll show you how to do it. After all, this is how we brew it. Homebrew is where the heart is. It's where dungeon masters, murder hobos, dice goblins, and chaos gremlins come together to turn big ideas into unforgettable adventures. So how do you take that spark, a setting, a villain, a mechanic, and turn it into something that actually works at the table? It's simple. We brew it. Brew it, brew it, brew it is an acronym because brew it is 6 flavorful categories to walk through and designed to help you build campaigns that capture the feel of your favorite worlds and IPs. Today, we're going with Resident Evil, and we're going to go through these categories of B, base build. What are the core components? R, resonance and vibe. This is where we make our poetic hearts sing. What is the tone, theme, and details that will help us feel right? E, extra froth. What makes this wildly fun? What's spicy or razzle-dazzle? Can we add in? W, weird for us. That strange little twist you'd never find on D&D Beyond. I, the inciting quest. Every good campaign needs a reason to leave home. And T, threat level. Let's talk danger. Who or what or how many hundreds of thousands of things can we have kill us because this is Resident Evil? What's their challenge rating, narratively and mechanically? All right, Taylor. Before we kick things off, have you actually played or seen any Resident Evil content?
Well, I watched the movies.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
I didn't watch the movies. I'm going to play the games.
Movies are actually pretty good. But when it came to the games, I've literally never played them. I didn't actually know it was a series of games until after I had seen the movies.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I kind of get the gist of what it's about. The movies were pretty much like, look at this cool lady shoot a gun and kick a zombie in the face. But you know, there's a lot more going on.
Sure. So, what then? As we're basically correct there. What is the essential for the base build of must-haves in this world and one shot we're about to create?
Great question. As I have said before, lady kicks zombie in face. I'm just kidding. I've already stated it. I'm done. No, I'm just kidding. I know you will have a lot more to say about this than I will. I do think something that I thought was really cool about Resident Evil that I think separates it from a lot of like monster-esque type movies, or sorry, not just movies, games, or like things that would categorize it as straight up zombies, is the fact that the whole idea of it, or at least where it all comes from, is a bioweapon. So I do think that's actually really fascinating, and I think it being like somewhat governmentally connected makes it a really fun one shot of like whether you are like work for the FBI and you have to like, and then I'm accidentally tapping into inciting quest, but I think truly figuring out what that inciting quest is what makes Resident Evil fun. But yeah, like whether you work for the government or you don't work for the government, but you're trying to infiltrate the government to figure out where all this is coming from, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I just think it makes it more tangible of a game to play when you take that element of Resident Evil to make it into something cool. Yeah.
I mean, so for the games themselves and for the stories overall, there's this corporation called the Umbrella Corporation that was doing experiments and ends up creating this zombie outbreak, and that's like the very first Resident Evil that ever kind of comes around. And you often play a character who's an agent of STARS, which is like this. I think it's like Special Tactics. Special Tactics and Rescue Service. This is called STARS, right? And you're just a special government agent type, or you're an agent of some kind, and you go in there, you investigate what's going on, you figure out what's happening with all the mad science, and then you fight a lot of zombies or like evil creatures, right?
Yeah.
And what I would say for sure is pretty important, is that for any horror setting, as we've talked about a little bit before, the vibes are probably more important than anything else.
Yes.
Right? It is so important for everything to feel bad and scary and tough, right? So I watched this video a little while ago. Maybe I can link it if we ever get around to it. But it talks about how the mechanics for Resident Evil are deliberately kind of poor and awkward. Like the camera angles and the inventory and all of that is on purpose a little poor. right? So like you have this awkward third person over the shoulder angle to shoot, and it feels very claustrophobic as you shoot, right? The ammo is very low. So instead of like Call of Duty where you've got like 40 bullets to shoot, you've only got like 7, right? And Resident Evil also often has a very strict inventory system where you have like an actual inventory, and you have boxes that you can hold like 2 boxes worth of stuff, and that's it. And you have to physically put all this stuff into the box, and if it doesn't fit, you can't have it. So like if you're gonna say I'm gonna take an assault rifle into the thing, the assault rifle is big and it takes up almost like 2/3 of a box, right? So very, very cool stuff like that to make it feel like everything is scarce and hard, and there's that piece. So you want mystery, you want limited inventory and ammo, and you want the vibes, right? And you want to make it feel claustrophobic. So I don't know how you can make a D&D one-shot feel claustrophobic, and do you really want that for various players? But you can get the vibes across. For me, though, from a base build situation, most of the time when you're playing games of this kind, like D&D, that is, most people don't track inventory very hard, and they don't track, like, for example, oh, you have 30 arrows. It's not like, oh, you need to go buy arrows in town. Why? Because it's no fun to go constantly buy arrows in town, right? I would absolutely make sure you have inventory systems here so that okay, like everybody goes in there and they're like a ranger and they've only got 7 arrows and that's it, right? And like, okay, like you only get 7 attacks against this creature. That already is going to make things feel really interesting. And if everybody, and to give it the right feel, I would say also, you probably want people to focus on ranged weaponry, because that's what happens in Resident Evil, and that remove their proficiencies with all other forms of weaponry, especially it's like they're not particularly proficient with swords, right, or anything of that kind. Like, so remove the ranger's ability, for example, for short swords or whatever, and so that they roll without that many bonuses as they attack things, so that it's clearly better for them to use their bow, but they only have like 7 arrows.
Yeah, I would even say, and this is mostly just because of how things have a little bit shifted in D&D lately, you know, they do have guns now.
That's true.
So even if, I mean, a ranger with a gun is probably crazy, but like, if you want to make your people artificers, because artificers having like revolvers isn't like a bad thing. That's kind of how the revolvers came to be in the D&D world, right? So like, even if you make like 1 or 2, or at least a good chunk of your players artificers, and then in the same way that you just said the ranger thing, but like they have very limited ammunition, and like maybe there are no backpacks, maybe, or one person has a backpack and everybody else has pouches, like they got like 2 pouches, which basically represents pockets. So it's like, oh cool, I can carry this revolver and then I have enough space in this pouch for like 5 bullets, you know? I think that could be really fascinating and gets across the idea of what you were talking about with inventory. As far as like, oh, if only one person has a backpack, and like bringing in encumbrance and like using that, you know, right. I think is really fascinating.
Yeah. So the only question I would have for you in that regard is that fun? Like, this is a part where it is a hard balance between survival and fun. Right? Like, you want to give the players enough stuff so that they can deal with problems, but you also want to give them the small amount of stuff so that it feels hard or desperate, but still can accomplish this, right? This is the like eternal problem for this type of game. You can see it on a more dramatic fashion for like my least favorite type of game, like a Souls-like game, where it's like, okay, you've got slow movements and things feel a little awkward, and you've got bad weaponry, and you got to hit this boss like 15 times and dodge their crazy attack sequence. And congratulations, you did it. You did it. you know?
did the thing.
And it's designed to be punishing, right? It's designed to be punishing overall. And there is a reward structure for certain types of people who like this type of game. I don't know why you like the type of game, but it's for you. It's for you. They like this type of game, and you figure out all the attack patterns, and you're able to like dodge and move your way through the game so that you can defeat the enemies, right?
Yeah.
But on purpose. It's very punishing. So like you die a lot. And for me, I ain't got time for that stress. Right? So how can we keep the balance healthy for your party, for the party and table?
That's a good question. I think so. I'm a little bit going to steal from a game that you did just reference that and so technically we're putting two games together, but I think the thing that does make Call of Duty fun is that, and goes the same for like stuff like Fortnite and stuff. There's always an opportunity to upgrade or steal something better. And I think that's always super fun, is when you can find a way to make something better or like upgrade your weapons or get something that's better than the thing you have. So like you said, like if the weapon is janky, if the weapon sucks, like you don't want to run around with like this rusty revolver forever. You could always just like go get, like, is there an opportunity as a DM for you to include that, like, oh, there are better weapons, that you can find. Or, oh my goodness, like give me a perception or investigation check as you were like as you got rid of this like monster or zombie, you look to the left and you see the corpse of like an old FBI agent that has a nice gun that's just like chilling there, or like this awesome sword or crossbow or whatever. And it's like, oh, cool. Like I can go like get this better, like this magic weapon that'll actually help us like do the thing we need to do, So yeah, like making it feel deadly, but also like equipping them with, maybe not equipping, but giving them opportunities to find the cool stuff. You know what I mean? That makes them feel like the lady who can kick the zombies in the face, Right. Yeah. So I think what I would say then too is you can give them the opportunity of finding cool and powerful stuff, but make it limited. Right? Yeah, of course.
So it's like, okay, like you don't find 20 grenades, you find 2.
Which is great because you don't have any. So finding one is amazing.
Finding one is awesome. And as a dungeon master, you should absolutely make those things pretty overpowered because they're only one-time use. So, and don't make the grenade like, oh, it does like, 2d6 damage in a 10-foot radius. No, make it fireball. Like make it big, right?
Right. Or like find a crossbow, but it has one arrow in it. And the arrow is like an arrow of like smiting or something random. Like, it's like a big, nice, cool arrow,
Yeah. Do those types of things. Help them find powerful things, but reward them. So the other part of that makes, we're still kind of on the base build point of essentiality, because the essentiality of horror is always always the B and the R are coming together always, right? The other thing is that this is also a mystery, right? It is a mystery in that you are trying to figure out why and how all this happened, and how can you stop it, and how can you cure things. Like that is also why you are here. You're not just there and trapped in a house and trying to escape. If that was the case, then if you played Resident Evil, you could have escaped a long time ago, right? It's you're trying to figure out what's going on in the place, right? And there's like a lot of locked doors or secret compartments. You're like, oftentimes you're just going around a single house, running around and trying to figure out everything that's going on in the place. And it's a big house, always a big house, or in a big estate. And you're always trying to figure out how this stuff has happened, right?
Yep.
So that's the other part. Reward their investigation for all this sort of stuff. So what you need to do in this regard is build out, did this virus or this thing, why did all these zombies and monsters start occurring and showing up in the first place? And then reward them as they investigate by finding cool stuff, right? Especially if you're like, okay, they look in this thing and it's like, hey, this laboratory was researching stuff and it turned all these people into zombies, but somebody was preparing for the possibility of like this antitoxin type deal, and it wasn't complete, so it doesn't cure the zombies, but it does do massive damage to them. And so then you've got this like flamethrower, anti-zombie flamethrower for like 2 turns, and that's it. Right?
That's great.
But it'll feel really cool, right?
I agree.
So okay, we've got the base build and the Resident Ed vibes. Let's go for extra froth and weird for us. And what sort of extra things can we add in for the extra razzle dazzle, or some weird for us, Taylor?
This might be surprising considering I've never played the games. I want the stalker to be in there.
Oh,
The big, scary lady-looking zombie that looks like it could just eat you in one bite. I think that's the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. In my very little knowledge of this game, that is one of like the 4 things I remember from seeing trailers and stuff about it, was the stalker. I think that is the craziest monster you can come up with in a world about zombies. And I know Resident Evil has so much crazier things going on, but the stalker is like genuinely one of the most terrifying things I've seen. And I think it would be so fun. It's so extra. You do not need it, but I think it would be really cool. Even like a big bad scenario or something to just like push the vibes even further of fear or of suspense. We don't know what's gonna happen next. Throw that bad boy in there. Just throw it in there.
For the audience, can you explain what the stalker zombie is, just in case they don't know?
Can I explain? Is crazy. As far as I can tell you, it is. I might actually look up a real description of this, but this is my base. I don't never play this game description. It is a zombie that is a giant lady, at least 7 to 9 feet tall, that will literally stalk you, and then when you're not looking, eat you. Now I'm gonna look up a real description of that stalker zombie in Resident. I want to see how close I got. Resident Evil. The stalker enemy is a hulking, 10-foot tall deformed creature that relentlessly pursues you. It is capable of traversing ceilings and dropping down, but it is sensitive to light, which burns its skin, and acts as a major unkillable threat to you and your team. So, I think I was pretty close. I was 1 foot off. But yeah, that's basically what it is.
Well, so this is fun because we're on the same wavelength, because one of my favorite versions in Resident Evil is there's this creature that's like this giant, I think its name is Sturm. It's like this giant zombie thing that is unkillable. And one of the rules for the game is pretty much is if you close a door, right, the zombies can't go through the door. They can't, so you're safe. This creature breaks that rule. It will, as like you close the door, and then you're going to start hearing pounding on the door. And then eventually you're like, oh my God, and it just destroys the wall. And you're like, oh no, and you have to like run away from it. And you cannot kill it. Like, there's no way to kill it. So you just have to constantly like move to the next room, investigate whatever you can find really quick, and then just keep going. And like, it is awesome.
That's cool.
And it's one of those things that because it's also one of those things where it only shows up like halfway through the game, and you've had the firm establishment of this is how the rules of the world work, right? And this thing breaks the rules, and so does the stalker zombie, right? So the fun part about these things is, and this is the kind of the essential part for why these things are cool, is you should establish pretty quickly how the game works and make sure you're deliberate about it, and then have a creature that breaks the rules about an hour and a half, 2 hours into one shot.
Right? For real.
And that's going to create the horror of it, the freak out moment of it, right? And make sure that this thing can be killed eventually if you fill the right conditions, but it's going to be hard and it's going to feel epic to do so, right? If we're going to include it, I would also have it be intimately tied to the mystery of what you're trying to solve in the mansion itself or the estate itself, because then it's cool and plot relevant. But yes, like one of the great things that you can do in horror as well is like, okay, you go to this laboratory and you show up at the laboratory and make the laboratory the central location you're going to kind of constantly go back to, because you have to like test stuff there, or you have to compare notes or whatever. You have some sort of central hub. In the central hub, like make that there's a giant statue of something, or like there's a person, creature thing just that's dead in the vat that in nearby, and then of course at some point that thing is going to pop out and break all the rules and be like, ah. So yeah, like the stalker zombie is weak to light, but it kind of stealths its way through. That's an obviously cool thing you can do. You can do the big hulking guy who just smashes through walls, like whatever we want to do. That's the sort of weird stuff for us that makes it cool. Okay. Then the only thing I think we should really talk about, because that's even sort of the threat level of like the final boss, is what are they actually investigating and what's going on in this mansion? We can kind of put our own spin on it a little bit. Well, how do you want to do that?
This is fun. Well, like I said, I'm always really fascinated about I was always really fascinated about the idea that Resident Evil was a more almost like more governmental side of like the zombie idea, or like the zombie world.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally am interested in an inciting quest that is like a group of members who like finally discovered the location of a lead on how to stop this.
Yeah.
Whether it be, I think in one of the later Resident Evil games, it was like, oh, they discovered something about the blood. Like, it's about the blood. And that became like a real like crux of one of the games. And so like, what if like the inciting quest is them being like, oh, like this is dipping into a little bit of Last of Us. Like, they found a cure in somebody's blood. Like but like the last place they noticed that person was at this mansion or at this like facility, you know what I mean? So we have to go there and we have to figure out if that person is still there or where they might have gone, you know? That's like my first thought of like, oh, it's kind of like not like a search and rescue, but almost like a search and rescue / intel.
Yeah.
We have a lead on the cure and we gotta go find it because that's the highest stake in the whole game.
Yeah.
Is the cure itself.
Yeah. And the thing that you're tapping into here, which the games do as well, right, is there's always the trope for any horror film of like, why don't you just run away, right?
Yes.
Like, why are you going in there, you know? Like,
right.
Like you have no sense of self-preservation. Like, why, right? Sometimes this excuse is is like completely irrelevant. Like if you watch the movies Alien, they can't escape. They're in a spaceship. They just have to be there, right? And in this scenario, this is why they are going to find a cure for like humanity, right? Like it is worth dying for.
It's worth dying for.
So they will go in there and do it. They don't want to die because they want to find the cure, but
right.
It is worth dying for. And that is a huge reason why the inciting quest has to be of that level and stake in order for the party to be like, we got to do this, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's pretty solid for that. Let's do a recap. For turning Resident Evil into a D&D one-shot, we want to make sure the horror vibes are there through limited inventory and removing weapon proficiencies and making things feel really deadly. But we want to give the party the opportunity to find cool and powerful stuff, weapons, arrows, like rings of fireball, stuff like that, so that they can actually deal with threats occasionally, but again, limited inventory. Reward them for finding that stuff through investigation and learn the mystery of how this zombie virus happened. Just for us, we included a stalker zombie or an invincible rule breaker zombie that should show up halfway or most of the way through to break rules, up the tension and horror, and probably be invincible unless you figure out some fancy puzzle. Somehow tie it into the origins of all of this stuff. Anyway, as the party finds a lead on how to actually stop the virus in some way, shape, or form, like going to this mansion or estate and finding the cure, or at least a lead on the cure or a person who knows how to stop it or save it. Your final boss is probably the stalker zombie or invincible rule breaker zombie, but that's still up to you. All right. Any other final thoughts, Taylor, before we wrap this up?
Yes, if you can somehow find a way to get a really cool lady with a gun who kicks a zombie in the face, I think you should.
Well, that reveals a lot about you, Taylor. That reveals a lot about you.
Listen, it was the best part of the movie.
It is. For the movies, that's the best part.
It's the best part. I'm like, she could really kill a zombie like that. She just kicked it. Like, she didn't even use the gun that she had.
Yeah, she did it with the power of I don't know. Like, I don't even understand
how the power of calves.
The power of calves. Yeah, like what? Like, she must have some crazy calf muscles. You know,
I need that workout plan.
Yeah. like you're just gonna be on the Stairmaster like over and over,
forever
and ever and ever. It's like, all right, yeah, you too can kick heads off of zombies.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Okay, well, if you like that, you can like and follow for more content like this. Hey there, losers. Thanks so much for watching our episode. Real quick shout out to our sponsor for this episode, D&T, our first ever sponsor. They make premium tea blends and tumblers that are honestly a little bit too powerful. When I was recording season 2, I put hot water in one of their tumblers, forgot about it, came back a couple hours later, took a sip, and immediately regretted every life choice because it was still hot and it burned my tongue. But it was really delicious. Head over to D&T and use promo code TSP for 15% off for lore-enhancing, game-enhancing tea. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next episode.
Hey there, just want to shout out to our patrons. Thanks so much for subscribing on Patreon and supporting the show. Thanks to Count Bubba, Fizz, Fedorable Will, Richard, Varner Jr., and Who's Scruffy Looking.